Hey everybody, Unicronbot here, and welcome to the last day of Grimlock week. And that was my phone, I apologize. And today we are talking about the final Grimlock in our discussion. For those of you who did not see any of the other Grimlock week videos, link down below. But here is the last one we're talking about, and we are looking at the latest Grimlock, the Transformers Generations Fall of Cybertron Grimlock. And before we look at him, let's take a look at the packaging. I know, Unicronbot's actually showing packaging. And here we have it, a really nice illustration of Grimlock in robot mode. I also love how they put his footprints going up the box. I really like that. Nice Autobot symbol right here. Series 1, number 3 in the set. Here's the back, the bio, if you want to pause and read it real quick. So it comes with chomping claw, glowing mouth and eyes, but they don't really talk about his weapons. And here's the reason why I really want to talk about the box. Okay, as you see, he comes with his nice classic G1 tech specs. Almost everything is above an 8 except for his speed, which is a 5, and an intelligence of 7. The reason why I want to talk about this is because I've watched so many reviews and so many people complaining that they made Grimlock too smart. No, they did not. They made him they made it perfect for his intelligence. You see, and let me clarify why. The G1 cartoon cruelly abused how dumb Grimlock was. In the first 2 seasons, they weren't as bad. They made it so that Grimlock was, while he didn't really think things through and while he was a little bit clumsy, he was still a skilled warrior. Season 3 and 4, the skilled warrior part completely removed. He simply was an idiot for the sake of comedic effect. However, if you followed comics throughout Transformers comics throughout the years and recent adaptations, Grimlock's intelligence is relatively high. He is a smart warrior. However, they've reduced his stupidity to he simply has a bad vocal processor. He can't speak what he's thinking. And that's all I really have to say about this. People who complain about him being too smart, don't. He's just smart enough, especially in this incarnation. He's the leader of an entire coalition. He needs to be smart. And that being said, let's put the box away and take a look at this guy. I have so many things I have to talk about this guy. This might be like a 20-minute long video. So, let's get to it. 1, molding. I really like this guy. I know a lot of people are like in between on this, mostly for a lot of good reasons. One complaint is he's too small. And if you're asking me, well, how small is he? Here he is. Here he is next to animated Grimlock in Dino mode. And here he is next to the classics Grimlock in Dino mode. As you can see, he is very close to the deluxe class's height. And with this one, he's a lot shorter. Oh, and animated just toppled over. Told you in that last review I did of this guy, his legs are really weird. But anyway, as you can see, he is much shorter than the animated Grimlock in Dino mode. And after a lot of thinking, there is a good reason to this. They made Grimlock's Dino mode size accurate to the alt modes of the other Transformers. And to show this to you, I'm going to put him next to the Fall of Cybertron Jazz. Now, if we can assume that Jazz's Cybertronian car mode is the same size as a standard sports car, meaning a Camaro, a Challenger, or a Mustang, that type of sports car, then we can assume that a human comes up to about here, like right about here on it, meaning that the human compared to Grimlock is about right at the end of the ankle, where in Grimlock's Tyrannosaurus mode, which is size accurate to a real Tyrannosaurus Rex. So he is technically size accurate to other alt modes. His robot mode is size accurate to the other robots. His alt mode is size accurate to the alt modes. So that being said, once you realize that, you'll start thinking he's not that small. But still, I wouldn't pose him next to other robot moded characters if you're that into size accuracy. That being said, another problem people have with this guy is he is very hollow down here. And I will admit, that is a really bad problem, especially since exposed head. But I bring back animated because he was a figure that also had a very hollow underside, and people complained about it, but still, they loved this guy. So is it really that big of a problem if this guy has a hollow belly? I mean, really. And then bringing in this guy. This form of the Grimlock, I have to say, I believe is the perfect middle ground of the animated Grimlock and the classics Grimlock. The animated Grimlock really had that G1 feel to it, whereas the classics Grimlock had that really modernized feel to it. I gotta say, this guy in Dino mode is the perfect idea of what a modernized Grimlock should look like. It's amazing how he looks, and I know a lot of people are complaining that the tail is too fat. First off, it comes off huge on camera. I'm looking at it right now, and on camera it comes off huge. Way too big. One, it's a lot smaller in person, and two, it's necessary because it was either they gave him a fat tail or when he's in robot mode, his legs are incredibly skinny. And the type of tail that people wanted for him, which would have been game accurate, is this tail. You can see why they didn't want to go back, because then they'd have to find a way to hide the real legs and then find something to do with this kind of tail. So again, I understand why they did that, and honestly, I don't mind it. It's not that big of a deal for people. But if you're willing to accept that these things were necessary. Now, looking at this guy, articulation-wise, his head can go up, down a little bit, but not too much because the robot head's right there. His arms are on a ball joint. His knees bend. His toes got a little pivot on each one. And it's supposed, like, if you want to have him properly transformed, his leg is the top of his leg should meet here and peg in. But if you want to add articulation, you can, let me just see if I can get this one, pop them out, and then his legs can go in, out. But the only problem is by doing that, you also make him even shorter, and you give him a weird squat look. So I personally wouldn't recommend that. And for those of you who do not like the idea of a Grimlock with a horizontal, scientifically accurate stance, there's an easy fix to it. Bend his knees, let his tail drag, bring the arms down a little bit, and then just leave the head to there, and then bam! G1 Grimlock modernized. Now to come to my favorite part about Grimlock in this mode, his gimmick. Fire breath, and take a look at this. Oh yeah, this is what LED lighting should look like. This is what the Transformers Prime Powerizers line did not understand. This thing is insane. It lights up the entire head and part of the neck. And I actually turned off the lights, and I was actually able to light my room with Grimlock's LED. It is that powerful. It's possibly one of the best implementations of LED lighting in a Transformer I've seen in so long. So I gotta give it props.